What's up YouTube? I'm Joe, you're watching my channel Ink&Iron, and I'm here today with my tool pouch. So this is a new addition to my EDC here. Started working at a new lab, and part of our lab is a shop where we cut up samples to make specimens for testing, and that involves a table saw as well as some other sort of woodworking tools. So I had to kind of put together a tool bag just so I could easily take it with me from the lab to the shop. It's sort of down the block. I gotta walk there. So this will kind of mostly live in my car, but also, in my apartment. It's got some useful stuff in here. This pouch is what is it called? Small tool pouch from Rough Enough. This is a new company for me. They're based out of Brooklyn, New York. So that's pretty cool. There's a little place for your name. Came with a carabiner and a key lanyard, but I ditched those pretty quickly. I still have them, but I just don't use them. You got a D-ring on the outside and some YKK zippers with a nice grab handle at the top, and that's pretty much it. It does have some padding, and I'll show you what that means for the tools inside. Here's what I got right now. Let me pull out a little bit. And if you notice some flickering of the background, my light metering today is apparently struggling. I don't know why. My phone is usually pretty reliable. You can see these zippers go out enough that you can just sort of lay the pouch open. And that's pretty handy when you're working on stuff, because then you can just grab what you need, and there's no reorganizing in a foam insert or something like that. The walls have a very thin layer of closed cell foam, so it's nice. Everything in here is protected from the outside world, and if they knock together, they're tools. I'm not too worried about them. Nothing in here is particularly sharp. So yeah, and then a mesh pocket on top. It's a very thin, low-lying pocket. Another YKK zipper, and yeah, let me show you what I got in here, and then I'll talk about what I'm going to change. So this is a Ratchet. It's just a razor blade holder. We use these razor blades at work because they cut very consistently, and we have to put notches into, I work with plastics, so we'll put a notch in something and then put it in a corrosive solution and see if it fails under load. So I got that in there. Scooch it over so I have some room. A little VH 6-bit driver holder. Hi Zeb. So this will hold 6 bits, so I have additional bits in here. None of these came in handy particularly yesterday working on the table saw, so I'll probably change out what's actually in there, but that little holster is very nice to have. This is just 1 foot of paracord, maybe 30 centimeters. Just to have it. I don't always need it, but it's so small that I threw it in there. This is a little tiny file. This came in a set from Harbor Freight. I have a whole bunch of other ones next to me in my little tool rack that I keep at home. This one's triangular. This one's just a straight up little flat file. You never know when something's going to need to be, have a burr taken off of it, or be slightly reshaped to fit back together, from damage or whatever. So this is real nice to have, and super compact. I mean, it is. I have a medium-sized hand, and it fits in there comfortably, so no problems there. And lastly, I have a Spyderco. This is called the Double Stuff Stone, sort of a medium grit ceramic on this side and a fine grit on this side. And this is appropriate for all my sharpening needs. These are both blems, so I got these at the second sale for real cheap. Yeah, you can see they mark it with a Sharpie. But yeah, for a couple of dollars, I saved, I don't know, $70 on this thing. So yeah, pretty sweet, and not afraid to throw it in a tool case and knock it around a little bit. Next up, Knipex. These are the Cobra 180s, 180 millimeters. They call these 7-inch pliers if you're on a US website. Basically, it's a water pump plier. It's good for holding round stock or pipe, and I work with pipes now, so yeah, this does come in handy, especially for knurled adjustments on the table saw. The fence has little knurling adjustments, and this can grab them really, really nicely. So have that in there. And the partner of that last tool, the Knipex Pliers wrench. This is the 180 millimeter, the 7-inch version, and I absolutely love these. I don't want these to be left out of any of my toolkits in the future. They're just so handy. The 10-to-1 compression ratio means I can flatten and straighten metal with the jaws, and also grab onto delicate components, chrome-plated hardware, without damaging it with these. So yeah, these are pretty invaluable and much lighter weight than, say, an adjustable wrench, you know, with the little thumb screw. So yeah, quite like those. Here's a little, sorry, everything's kind of dusty. Like I said, I brought these to the shop yesterday to test it out. This is an Est-wing. This is a pick, comes in a set of 4. You have a couple more, you know. This one obviously hasn't come to the shop, nice and clean. Comes in a set of 4, and these are really, really valuable tools. Also for typewriter repair, which I also do on this channel. But a lot of times you're just cleaning gunk out of somewhere, and this is like the perfect thing to get in there and scrape out anything that you need. And they're not too hard, so hardened steel, you're not going to do much damage to it using this on it. So very, very handy. Got a Dasco Pro pry bar. I don't like prying with anything that isn't a pry bar, so you know, I threw this in there. It is a 7.5 inch, so you know, 19 centimeters probably, something like that. And yeah, you know, it's a pry bar. It does prying things. And the tips are still in good shape because it's a decent steel. I'm trying to think where I got this. Maybe Home Depot, maybe Harbor Freight, maybe Lowe's. I don't remember. You're able to find stuff like this just about any big box store. What else? VHA 1/4 inch stubby Ultra driver, I think is what this is called. And I have this in here, one, because it's very small. If I need to get into somewhere tight, like there's a piece of hardware right here, I can get up in there and move it around without, you know, getting jammed up inside of a component. So it comes in handy quite a bit, especially in my last place of work for furniture, you know, underneath a drawer or a tabletop. This was real handy. And it comes with 6 slots for double-ended bit storage, so it has 14 different driver heads on it in a super, super compact form. So yeah, I'm a big fan of this VHA Ultra Stubby bit driver. Highly recommended. It also doesn't roll on a tabletop because of the 2 flats here. I think you could probably use 2 more, but you know, this thing is definitely worth its weight and its size easily. Partnering that with a Vera Craft Form Compact, I think this is called. You can also look up the item number here to try and find this, but this is a new edition. I just did a video about it. Also doesn't roll on a tabletop, which is super important working on a table saw because the thing is just a flat table on top. It does have this sort of spinning collar, and you can exchange bits at the end. It also extends if you need more reach, and if you need to chuck it into a drill driver, you can do that by just ejecting the shaft, and then you have a bit holder with an extension. So yeah, super handy. Also has bit storage for 6 more bits, and these are all Vera bits that it came with, and they are nicely machined. Nice hollow grinds on there. So yeah, so far so good on this thing. Haven't used it as much. I ended up using the stubby mostly. Yeah, just because it had the Phillips already ready to go. So I'll probably stick a Phillips in here as the sort of default for working on the table saw. I got a cheapo 1/2 inch chisel, 12 millimeters wide. It is set up for like woodworking because of these like bevels taken off the corners. You can get in real tight spaces and carve out wood. I'm not really doing a lot of woodwork lately, but it's nice to have a chisel because it's a hard tool to substitute when you need it. Have a nail set, so this is like a spring-loaded punch. I can't really do it by hand. It's quite a rigid spring on the inside. But if you need to start a hole, if you're drilling out something, or trying to knock something out of place, you know, through a tube or a bushing or a shaft or something like that, this can really come in handy. I think a lot of people might use these to knock the pins out of door hinges. So yeah, it comes in handy, and it's not too big. It fits nicely in this pouch, so that's why I have that in there. Partnering with that, a little solid piece of steel here. This is from, is it labeled? No, I have the partners over here. This is just a nail set from Miller Falls. I believe they're all Miller Falls, but this one's actually labeled for 30 seconds. I have the 330 seconds just because it's a little bit smaller. And this is about the size I need to, again, knock stuff out of place or to start holes or something like that. This is a little bit of a specialized tool. So this is a deburring tool specifically for round holes. So you can see it's got 5 points on there. They're sort of like light duty chisel points. And you would basically stick this into a hole and this would ream out the corner, so you no longer have like a sharp corner on the edge of your hole. It kind of flattens it over at a 45-degree angle. It doesn't come in handy all the time, but I work with a lot of plastic and we drill and modify holes and notches in it all the time. So this I'd like to partner with a deburring tool at some point and just have the full set for when I'm working on plastic stuff. It also can be interchanged. There are 2 other heads that came with it. And where did I get this? Amazon, I think. Is there a brand on this? No. So, sorry, I don't know what this is called, but yeah, I think it's going to stay in here in the kit. And then lastly, I have a very heavy-duty pickup tool. So this thing holds like 12 pounds or something, suitable for grabbing stuff, especially because it extends to about 1 meter long, so maybe 38 inches or so, maybe 40. Yeah, super long, super handy. If you drop a piece of hardware and it rolls under a table or under a table saw or something like that, it's a huge bummer to try and retrieve it without something like this. And yeah, this one's got a particularly big head on it, so it makes it a little less, a little less apt to get under stuff. But the strength of it means I can pick up literally any of my tools from the kit if I drop them or if they, fall somewhere that I can't reach by hand. So yeah, I like the big beefy one here. And yeah, that's it. You can see the inside of the pouch, little tag on there, Rough Enough Company. And that's about it. It's pretty compact. Do I have a ruler? Don't have a great ruler here, but yeah, maybe about 2 inches in thickness, about 5 inches in width and length. That's, let's see, 4, yeah, about 9 inches long. So there you go, the Rough Enough small tool pouch. So I think things that should stay in here, definitely pry bar, definitely pickup tool. I think my wrenches are definitely going to stay in here. I like the drivers. We're going to keep the Vera and the Viha. The pick did come in handy. I was cleaning out a worm gear. This thing I am going to keep in there for now. If I don't end up using it, it will leave the kit and stay at home. Because I haven't used it so far. I like the file. It is so tiny. It's definitely worth having. Sharpener for sure. This, we use these exact razor blades that fit in here at work, so definitely going to keep that. It's also super small. The Viha 6 backup bit holder here. What did this come with? This came with this stubby driver. So I don't know that you can buy this separately, but it's so small and compact. Definitely keeping it. Going to keep this nice and compact. Going to keep this. Yeah, I think I'm going to keep basically everything. The chisel, I'm not super sure about. Maybe I'll take it out of the pouch and actually leave it at the shop. That might be the best way to go instead of carrying it all around, because it's not like, if I'm in the car and I need one of these tools, I'm probably not grabbing a chisel to work on anything on my car. So, maybe it's best suited for staying in the shop. Originally, I was going to put in the Viha bit selector. But this is a Torx bit set. I really got this for multi-tools and knives that I also do on this channel and do as a hobby. Comes with a little bit extender here that can be chucked into a drill. I like this a lot, but you can see it takes up a good amount of space in the pouch. And since I have literally, what is this, 7 bits on here, 14 in here, plus an extra 6, 6 to 12 if I get double-ended, I mean, I've got tons of bits. So the bit selector, I do like it, although I think it's going to be better suited to other applications or for sticking with my knife and multi-tool stuff because it has all these Torx drivers on there. So yeah, that didn't end up making it in. Something I'd like to add is maybe a little ratchet driver here. And the reason I want to do this is because, like I said, this was coming in handy on the table saw because it was really hard to get access to certain hardware because of the clearance dilemmas you run into. You know, you're working on the trunnion, but it's only this far away from the top of the table underneath. So yeah, you need a small tool like that to get in. So your options are like a stubby driver or a ratchet, right? Because I can fit in a space this big with this and drive hardware or nuts. So I'd like to add this into the mix. The only problem is this is a Craftsman model. Excuse me. This is a Craftsman model. So all my drivers and nut drivers on here are standard. So yeah, this is what is it, 14? Oh, is this standard or is this metric? Hold up, y'all, because I was ending up having to use like an M6 Allen key for a lot of hardware, and I wasn't sure that I'd be able to find a quarter-inch mount, but the thing that it's driving is metric, so I'll have to figure that out. Yeah, this is a quarter-inch bit adapter, basically. So if I take this out of here, I can put it in here, and now I can drive with it. So yeah, I'll have to work that out. Probably whittle it down to whatever bits or nut drivers I actually need, and then put them in like a small pouch or something in here, or even in the top zippered compartment. So yeah, I think in the future there's definitely going to be some kind of ratcheting mechanism in there so that I can get better clearance on the table saw unders. Yeah, there you have it. That's my rough enough small tool pouch. It's been really handy. I've liked it already, and I've only used it for like a day at the shop. It did get covered in like fiberglass and composite resin dust. So yeah, I cleaned it off. I just used a shop vac vacuum attachment and vacuumed it down and cleaned up just fine. So I think this is going to suit my needs really well. Holds just enough tools to do what I need to without being a whole huge toolbox. So yeah, looking forward to using it in the future. If you guys have suggestions, you're like, oh yeah, I work on a table saw all the time, or I work at a plastic pipe testing facility. So if you've got particular tools that you're like, hey, I also work in, CIPP or PVC, here's something you might want to try, drop me a comment. I'm always looking for new tools and new suggestions because you never know what someone knows that you don't. You know what I mean? All right, anyway, I've been Joe. You've been watching my channel, Ink&Iron. Thank you for joining me for more tools, multi-tools, knives, typewriters, fountain pens, that kind of thing, EDC stuff. Do all kinds of things around here on my vlog. Like, sub, do the things, and I'll catch you on the next one. Bye.